1965, Dr. Butterfield visited this place on a very large sailboat, and he fell in love with the place. And in continuing his journey, he passed through the Panama Canal prior to crossing the Pacific. And when he got to Panama, he sent me a telegram, and he said, "Come to this place." And so my girl and I jumped on a plane and made every possible effort to get here, which meant eventually chartering out of Nassau, because Eastern Airlines, although they ticketed us all the way to Androstown, couldn't land one of their jet planes there. And so we began to learn things about this place even before we got here, which was that it was unique in the sense that you couldn't land a big airplane. When we visited and we made this dive over the wall, and it took me a while to recognize what it was I was looking at and standing on, but that it was an ice age beach when the water level was 200 feet lower than it is now. And when I came back up and sat with Dick Birch, I said, I can make a movie here. I made this dive, and I know that I can document this place. He visited us in Boston at one of our shows, and we made the final arrangements to do that. And we flew a crew on a chartered plane out of Fort Lauderdale, and we brought in 2 Zodiac inflatable boats, 2 outboard motors, a whole pile of wonderful scuba gear, and 9 people who knew what they were doing, one of whom was Dr. Butterfield. And we shot a film here. And the movie was called The Wall, and at the time, it had won several awards just because at the time it was pretty good. Now it's kind of old hat because people make deep dives all the time. But when you're the first one to do something, for example, if you went in with a movie camera and it came out and it didn't leak, you'd get an award.
Okay.
We continued to dive here as often as we could, and became fast friends, and eventually were anointed as family to this place. The uniqueness of the island and the other Bahamian islands is that they sit on this porous foundation, this porous rock that absorbs all the water that it can when it rains. And the raining of the water manages to dissolve some of the porous rock, and from time to time great chunks of it fall in on themselves and create these beautiful blue holes where people can go scuba diving. So we started coming here because Dr. Butterfield had visited here and suggested that we do it because he recognized it immediately as a unique place. And we've been coming ever since. And that is the end